Hey everybody, Alaskan Ballistics here, going live. And I think it's time for serious discussion on Secession. On Secession. What do you guys think? Secession? Everybody's going to go in the comments, well, we tried that once, it didn't work. Well, first of all, for the most part, since the American Civil War, or excuse me, the War of Northern Aggression, or the war between the states, whatever you want to call it, since then, generally speaking, the side that's morally right in a war has won. So I see Adam Hymus is in the chat. First one here. Thanks, man. But anyway, I think it's time with H.R.1 on the table, with H.R. 127 on the table, with the Democrats having enough votes to just ram both of those through. All they got to do is have their party whip people in line, and they are rammed through, right? All they got to do is do a little threatening, pull some money from this district, pull some money from that district. That's all they got to do. Excuse me. And they can ram anything through they wanted to. So it's time to start talking about succession. It's time to start talking about succession. And how are we going to do that, you know? Well, unfortunately, I'm calling on you, Governor Abbott of Texas. You're the one that's got to start it. You have the most resources, okay? And you have the most legal in your charter to succeed. But let's control the narrative. We're not leaving America. With H.R.1 violating the Constitution, with H.R. 127 violating the Constitution, they have left us. If you are in a blue state that has voted nothing but Democrat for years, not some of those weird states that may have been voter fraud or whatever, and you've been voting totalitarian for years, Democrat totalitarian for years, okay, then it's your fault. You've been voting for the blue plantation, whatever you want to call them, and yeah, it's time for succession. So I'm calling on Governor Abbott. Y'all send this to his Instagram or whatever. I'm calling on him. Alaska will be your friend, right? We'll have all the nuclear missiles pointed at Russia for you, like we already do, okay? But it's time for you to call for succession in the state of Texas, okay? And for the rest of us in America, we need to tell them we will secede from the Union. Actually, they've left the Union. If this passes, you consider them left the Union. We're still the United States of America. They have divided themselves off, okay? So go middle of the country, Texas up through North Dakota, all that will succeed. Montana will succeed. If Texas goes, Louisiana goes, Arkansas is done, you know, Missouri is there, okay? And, you know, Alabama and Tennessee are there, Georgia, we're probably fighting amongst themselves right now. Same thing with Florida, but, you know, North and South Carolina are toss-ups. Kentucky's a toss-up. Indiana's a toss-up. Southern Illinois. So all you guys got to do in Texas is pass a law that says we are succeeding if these things passes. You guys have to drive the narrative and say, this is illegal. This is unconstitutional. We don't have to be here if you're going to do that. So, all right. Let's make sense. Let's make sense of this, and let's make sure everybody understands there are consequences. If the middle of America succeeds because of all the legalized voter fraud with H.R.1 and with the insane gun control, which they have the ability to push right through, and anybody who says they don't is insane and stupid. Don't listen to them, okay? They have the ability to push it right through. And guys, we have to absolutely drive the narrative that if America falls because of these two acts, if we fall from enemies of the domestic enemies of the Constitution, we will defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? Yeah. If we fall against these domestic enemies of the Constitution, okay, then they got to know we are ready to leave their union. Or they have left our union. Let's let it say that way. So, all right. See a lot of good people in the side chat here, and We're going to get to that in a second. Bullets for Bucks has a good point, but anyway, Ada Hymas, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere or not, but it might be the Overton window to drive something else. So it doesn't matter whether H.R. 127 goes anywhere or not. It might be, oh, we didn't get this bad, so let's settle with just licensing. Or we didn't get the psychological exam, so let's settle with just registration. Or we didn't get the magazine ban, so let's just settle with the ammo restrictions. No. If it doesn't pass itself, which is insane. If you're insane if it doesn't think it's going to pass. All right, I love you, Adam. Hopefully you're right. Hopefully you're right. Okay. And Sheila Jackson Lee, there are liberal areas of every state that want to stay on their blue plantation for their slave owners, and they're everywhere. So yeah, I mean, the people of Houston literally elect their own slave owners. It's crazy. But anyway, we have to let the left know that since they have left America, now they're going to have trade negotiations with a foreign country for food. For food. The middle of America grows way more food than all of those places combined. They can't go to war with us. They can't start a civil war. Okay. So yeah, Wyoming, bullets for bucks. Wyoming, I'm sure, will be gone. Colorado would do that. And the other thing you could do is, like, if you pass the law, you could say counties that border states that have succeeded can join a state that has succeeded, and those counties can vote to join, and that state can just annex them. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, I was hoping Virginia in West Virginia would do that with the gun control law things that they were passing and they were talked about, and I think part of that was the reason why it I think part of that was the reason why a lot of that stuff didn't pass in Virginia, because they realized, hey, we might lose half of Virginia, you know? So there's that. Alaska already beat Texas. See the Alaska General Assembly. Yeah, give me a link to whatever that means, man. Yeah, but Texas got to start happening. So, and here's the thing: Texas has the most population and resources of all the states in the lower 48. Certainly have way more population than we do, and so as much as I got to say this, hate to say this, Texas has got to be the first one to go. Alaska, we got your back, Texas, but absolutely has to be to go. Okay. Listening to Dunleavy, he's our governor here, the state of the state the other day, sovereignty 3x, independence, etc. Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely think about that, because we will definitely not be under a control of a former vice president in Washington, D.C. So that is the way we are definitely heading. As someone who grew up in America's South, I doubt secession, it's spelled the S-E, by the way, guys, will lead to anything but bloodshed. The Confederately lost and demonized, and they will do this again, make them the devil. No, it won't. It won't this time. First of all, it's how you approach it, okay? If the Confederates had left Fort Sumter alone for a few more months, they just left it alone for a few more months, Lincoln would have pulled out. Like, it would have been a lot different. You got to approach it the right way, number one. Number two, they have to know. They absolutely have to know that they have left the United States. Anybody who voted for Joe Biden is not a true American patriot, nor do they exercise their God-given rights as a true American patriot. That means they're less than a citizen. They chose to be less than a citizen. Think about it right there. All right? Yeah, I mean, we pretty much are another country all on its own. Okay? We can't go anywhere without going through Canada or on an airplane. We pretty much are another country. I live in Greece, and liberals have so much power, basically left culture rules. We have over 1 million refugees from Syria. I'm telling you. And that's the problem. We have too much of it here. Okay? Now, I feel bad for the people from Syria. I really do, but it's got to do what they got to do. All right? So, everybody has got to make sure, share this video, let everybody know we're talking about it. What are your thoughts on Secession? Okay. When I travel and people think I'm from a different country, I usually let them go on thinking that. Yeah, there we go. Indeed. So, guys, Secession is the answer. At least we have to start driving the discussion about it. Because no matter what they paint us in the media, okay, we're not racist, we're not sexist, we're not misogynist, we're not alarmist, okay? We're realists. We know that government is usually the problem. We know that government is usually the problem, okay? So we want to make sure that government isn't the problem. And if a government wants to take all your guns, then they want to do something you would use those guns for. Period. Okay? God gave you those rights, not the government. God absolutely gave you those rights. All right? And James Dean here is right. We're too divided and there's no compromise. Absolutely. There's no compromise on the Second Amendment. We have $28 trillion in official debt. Okay? $28 trillion in official debt. How in the heck could we afford anything? How can we afford our military? How can we afford, all the Medicaid and Medicare? We are $28 trillion in debt. It would be best if we left that debt and stuck it to the liberals who wanted it. They wanted that debt. We could even take the percentage by population of that debt and pay it off ourselves. Okay? Yep. So understand that. Okay? We finished in lawful way that Joe Vogler tried and almost completed. Yeah. So again, go back to the gold standard, abolish the Federal Reserve, stop all foreign aid. Man, I agree with all of this. Absolutely agree with all of this. But guys, all of that is stuff we can only do if we have our own country. And if you are at the point where you don't believe that we have our own country right now, you are insane. Okay? You are absolutely insane. If you believe that we can still call our congressman and he'll vote no, or that we can still call people and get things done, you're crazy. Okay? They're bought and paid for. All right? That's that. So the Alaska government replaced the Alaska Constitution. We are going back to gold and silver. Sweet. That would be awesome. Yep. So again, let me give you a link. All right. Let me give you a link or a wrench. Renaissance. I don't know you. I'm giving you a wrench. I want you to post a link to all of that. I want you to post a link to all of that. And I'm trying to find my own chat on here.
Look for the well health safety seal outside.
There we go. I got the ad playing on the chat. At least I get one monetized view, right? Okay. Anyway. So. Okay, so Renaissance, you can now, I've given you a wrench. You can post a link to all this so the rest of us can see it. Okay. Tree of Liberty needs watering. Absolutely it does. Okay. If H.R. 127 passes, it's going to be yours and my water. Okay. Our bodily water is going to be the one that's watering it. Let's be honest. Okay. I was telling Mr. F and H the other day, I think it was Mr. F and H, wasn't you? That I will have my Second Amendment rights to the end of my life. Might be 6 months from now when they take my guns from me, but I will have them to the end of my life. All right. AlaskaDeJure.com. Anyway, I agree we're too divided. Both sides are guilty of this. Weirdly, it seems more are coming to realize that the government has failed us. Both sides see this. Yeah, I mean, the government has failed us, but the problem is the other side keeps voting for the failure. And then our side keeps voting for Republicans who also fail us, like Trump, okay, with $8 trillion more in debt and passing, unconstitutional gun laws behind Congress's back going around the system. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I totally agree, Patriot. Both parties are united against freedom. Yeah. I mean, they drop the taxes down to 1% and live off that 1% for the military and the post office and the roads. That's all they need to do, but they don't do that. So, yeah, they won't let you have your own country with your own monetary system. Ask Gaddafi or Assad. Good points. Very good points. I mean, really, Gaddafi wanted to get out and buy sell oil in gold instead of U.S. dollars. So, you really think Alaskan law enforcement would take your guns? No, but some of there's military bases stationed here. There are enough military people who probably would do it if ordered. All right, I don't know. I know 90% of them wouldn't, but it only takes 10% of them. So 90% of them aren't ground troops. Like ground troops actually make up a very small percentage of our actual military. So we can say 90% of them wouldn't do it, but it only takes 10% of the 10% that would to do it, to actually go around and collect guns. So, and yeah, John Fazer is right here. Law enforcement has always enforced unconstitutional gun laws. Okay, if you were a felon 10 years ago and you got out and you're doing great now and you now have a gun to protect yourself and you have to shoot somebody inside your house, law enforcement comes and arrests you. Okay, that's an unconstitutional gun law. Your rights should be granted back to you when you're a felon. That's not even a question. Okay, government isn't God. They don't get to take away your rights, right? So absolutely, law enforcement has always enforced gun laws. So, all right, law enforcement and military will absolutely do it. Not everybody in the military, okay? Not everybody in law enforcement, okay? And so that's that. Yep. All right, I'll have to read what you're talking about there. But anyway, yeah, if cops take felons' guns. Hey, the military went around and took guns from the people of Iraq. In Iraq, they went door to door searching for weapons. Okay, some of those people were just innocent people that just wanted to protect themselves from either side. All right, I mean, let's just be honest. Okay, so the military would do it in Iraq, they'd do it here. Okay, if they were ordered to, they were told we were the radical patriots or whatever, the military would definitely do it here. But secession absolutely has to happen. Okay. Yep. Katrina. Absolutely. Yeah. If you don't think the military would take your guns, Katrina. Yeah. That's all I got to say. Okay. All right. Yeah. It depends largely on the state. California, it'd probably be 80-20 the other way around in certain areas anyway. Yeah. Trump told gun grabbing Feinstein to do away with due process. Absolutely. He did. Okay. If you were backing Trump and thinking Trump was the answer, you are insane. Okay. Trump was not the answer. That's why I wrote in Rand Paul. Okay. He may not be the answer either, but at least he's not as insane. All right. So anyway, he didn't do that. So Mr. F&H keeps wants to know who's drinking and watching me. Right. So, all right. That's I guess that's the entertainment tonight. Get drunk and watch Chuck go on about Secession. But yeah, stop supporting that Trojan horse Trump is in 2018. Yeah, I begrudgingly voted for him the first time. I shouldn't have. I knew I shouldn't have. Yeah, too many oath breakers that will use the safe answer. Just obeying orders, just doing orders. So, yeah, okay. Missouri House passed the 2A Preservation Act. That's good. We'll get by the Senate and the governor. Okay, that's that. So anyway, too many oath breakers that'll use safe just doing my job. I've already read that one. I'm not drunk. I can hold my liquor, Chuck. All right, yeah, I can't. Bump stock ban was Trump. Okay, worse than the bump stock ban is Trump supporting red flag laws. They didn't get passed, thank God. But yeah, red flag laws are as bad. Anybody who thinks red flag laws are not as bad as H.R. 127 is insane. Okay. You are absolutely insane. Okay, definitely crazy. Definitely crazy. Well, I got the chat going on my phone, and so how much faster it is on YouTube than it is on StreamYard. So, but anyway, fly the Republic of Texas first flag. Come and take it. Absolutely. All right. Okay. Anyone up north can meet some of the assembly at Chino Hot Springs tomorrow night. Well, I can't make it that far, but that's a long ways. But will be what it is. We saw cops obey orders to stand down during the BLM riots, even though they knew it was wrong and unconstitutional. Yep, exactly. So, my sheriff put out an announcement saying they wouldn't accept bump stocks being turned in or enforce it. Oh, that's sweet. That's sweet. So, that's good. Definitely good. So, yep. Red flag laws are unconstitutional with the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Third Amendment, or the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment. What is it? The Eighth Amendment. The depending on how you want to stretch it, the 14th Amendment. Yeah, definitely unconstitutional. All right. So that's that. But no, secession absolutely has to happen, guys. And here's why: at least the discussion needs to get out there. If we're not seriously discussing succession, we're not seriously discussing it, the other side has no consequences. And that's been the problem for far too long. The other side and the people in Washington have no consequences. All we want is government that'll leave us alone, build the roads, defend the shores, and leave us the heck alone. That's all we need in government. And the other side wants a whole lot more control, and my side doesn't not. So we absolutely have to drive the narrative of secession. Okay. All right. For those of you that can't spell it, all right, it's SECCIO, succession. I'll spell it in the chat, but it's succession. I can type it, but all right, we absolutely have to. Okay. All right. I get the frustration, but it's more important to change minds right now. The percentage of people who really want to turn U.S. into Iraq is pretty low. Yeah. Well, I don't want to turn that U.S. into Iraq. That's crazy. All right. The Democrats want to turn it into Iraq by coming to your house and taking your guns. If you don't register them, if you don't go through a psychological exam that's going to be biased against you anyway. Okay. And all right, here's the thing you don't get. Is Trump let in 1 million immigrants a month, most of whom voted left. All right, how many minds do you have to change? You have to change an insurmountable amount of minds. Okay, guys, you absolutely are going to have to change more minds than we have on our side. It's crazy. Like, you have to change a lot, and so it's great and everything. I understand we need to change as many minds as we can. I'm not saying don't do that, but it is time. Screw it. We are there. Okay. You ever been in that argument in a relationship where you ever said things you don't want to, where you shouldn't say them, but you need to say them to get it out in the open? Screw it. We're there. Okay. Does everybody understand? Okay. Okay. This country is too big for people to have honest representation. I don't think it's too big. I think we've been too complacent as citizens for far too long. Okay. But I agree, at this point, everything in Washington is not a good idea. So, all right. So, we need all shades of Americans to unite. Yes, we do. All shades, all colors, all people. Okay. We absolutely do. But, the one thing is the left is not going to unite with us. They do not want unity. The left does not want unity. They want division. They keep passing more division. They want to do more to it. Okay. Greece is the only European country that we are forced to serve the military for 1 year minimum, and they want to increase it to 2. Yet we don't have any rights to firearms. Love my leftist government. Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. How do you get to hunt? How do you get to fish? You probably don't have any hunting or fishing. All right. How do you get to feed your own family? How would you defend yourself right now if a foreign country invaded? Are you going to go down to your local armory and enlist again? I mean, that's crazy. Yep. And that's what they want to do here. Okay. We are the last bastion of hope, and we cannot do that. Okay. It was never meant to be like this. Absolutely. Okay. I say we have left our constitutional system a long time ago, probably starting in 1913 with the Federal Reserve Act. But that's where I say. But it is what it is. So, yeah. Trump said at the State of the Union, he was fled the country with idiots, immigrants, and idiot Trump supporters cheered. Absolutely. Okay. Trump was not the answer. Okay, here's a good one. This is what I want to get to, the meat and the table. So how do we separate? First of all, Texas has got to start it, okay? They got to put it on the table. They got to put it through their legislature. They got to do it, all right? And then other states are going to have to follow. And Texas will say we will welcome into a trade union or into a union of a separate country, any state that borders us or borders those states that wants to join us and not being in the United States anymore. Because we're not in the United States anymore. The left has left the United States, okay? And so the next thing we got to do is we got to emphasize that we want peace, okay? We want peace. We want to peacefully have our own country. If you are rolling tanks against us, you are if Washington, D.C. rolls them down to Tennessee because Tennessee succeeded, Washington, D.C., the Washington, D.C., the Democrats are the tyrants, okay? Okay? Yeah, okay? So we have to emphasize that, and then we have to emphasize that they cannot live without us, okay? They do not have enough food without the middle of America, okay? They just don't, okay? They don't have enough lumber. They don't have enough timber. They don't have enough stuff, all right? They cannot live without us. So let's make sure we understand that, okay? So that's how to separate. Those are things we stress that we want a peaceful exit, okay? We want a peaceful exit from the United States. Because what's the alternative? If they pass H.R. 127, which they could do, they can ram it through tomorrow if they want to, okay? It could be on the president's desk in 4 or 5 weeks easily if they want to do it. They have the votes. If they vote party lines, and there's only 3 or 4 Democrats that may not vote party lines, so that's not enough to matter, okay? So they could ram through this. So the alternative, for everybody that thinks that secession is bloody, the alternative is bloody. Staying in the Union when the Union wants to control legalize voter fraud against the Constitution and legalize against your Second Amendment rights and make you register your guns, okay? All right? They are totally there. So, okay, it's absolutely going to be worse if you give that up. How do I say this? It's absolutely going to be worse, more bloodshed if we don't succeed than if we do. Okay. Okay. Cuomo could pass the New York Safe House. It is probably very likely. Yeah, it definitely is. House Bill 1359, the first step toward the reincarnation of Texas as an independent country among the nation, was tossed into the legislative hopper on Tuesday, January 26th. That's good to hear. It's absolutely good to hear. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. The majority won't comply to 127, but they have enough military and law enforcement to enforce a good portion of it. Not everybody, but they're going to enforce it. They're going to find people like me and people like you that are on this chat right now. Okay. So, see, the left wants to separate us. 2 seconds later, we want to succeed. You can't make this up. I've been saying secession for years. That's stupid, Christmas popcorn. That's absolutely stupid. Okay. The left wants to control us. They don't want to separate us. They want to control us. Okay. They want us to be their good little model. Never have my own opinion citizens. That's crazy. So they will wait till they manufacture the next strategy to really push gun control. You forgot that word, John Fraser. Okay. Okay. Too many new gun owners to sway opinions right now, but first tragedy, they will gain public support. Yeah. Yeah, maybe once they manufacture their first tragedy, right? Once they send some insane kid to a school where he's going to be bullied, all right, purposely, okay. When they knew somebody was saying something online, it's going to be crazy. So, absolutely, it's going to be a thing. It's absolutely going to be awful, but like they're going to manufacture something, you know it, okay. Rather than putting a person, in every school that can defend the school and a couple of people. They don't want every teacher armed. I don't want every teacher armed. If they want to be armed, I want them armed because that's the Second Amendment. But I don't. There are teachers in my school I don't want armed. I don't like to trust them to be armed or to learn how to practice or anything like that. Okay, I absolutely think that, but they will definitely manufacture something. So, yeah, Patriot Ninja has been spot on tonight. The left is against a fascist police state, yet they are creating a fascist police state. Duh, we know that that's what the left wants for years. The left is about control. All right. So if some conservatives are in a liberal state, they would probably need to pull up roots and start over. Do you think? Yeah, probably. Probably they should have been doing that years ago, or they should have been changing their state. One of the two. I mean, let's be honest. That should have been what was happening. A debate. They should have been raising the flag and doing the debate and fighting more and making their own protests and marches and all that kind of stuff. They didn't do it. All right. So it's time that they probably need to. Yeah. And if we successfully succeeded and we had our own nation and there's the other nation on the coasts or whatever, all right, and we successfully succeeded, all right, the two countries would broker out an agreement with and be like, okay, you got 5 years, you got 6 years, you got 10 years to change your citizenship free. All right, that's that. American brothers, never give your weapons like we did years ago. Absolutely not. Okay. All right. I appreciate that. So everybody needs to make sure that no teacher that doesn't want to be armed or disarmed should be armed or disarmed. Absolutely. Absolutely, and Gabriel. So that's that. I'm looking to try to complete my whiteboard with the AR-500 armor behind it, where I can protect myself, at least armor myself, at least give myself a fighting chance. Hoping to complete that this weekend, actually. How would you predict Texas? It's going to come when it's going to come when HR-27 or HR-127 or HR-1 are passed. It's totally going to come then. So, all right. Sorry, the dog is drinking so much water they're going to puke. I had to stop there for a second, but all right. So definitely, that's how I would predict Texas. It's already in the Texas legislature, according to Chuck Garrettson here. House Bill 1359, the first step toward the reincarnation of Texas as an independent country among the nations, was tossed into legislator Hopper on Tuesday, January 26th. So absolutely have to do this. You need to tell all your Texas friends to support this. Because if this gains any steam, Biden will be known as the one who divided the country. Okay? Yeah, I mean, the country's already been divided. He'll be known as the one who split it up. Okay? All right? And he is not as smart as Lincoln to be able to put it back together again. Of course, Lincoln did that through tyranny. All right? It's pronounced seed. I always said sex seed, but that's how we pronounce it in Georgia. Maybe you Texans have a different Southern dialect there, but it is pronounced succeed. Succeed, like seed. Yeah. Oh, too bad we can't make the liberal state succeed. It's sex seed. Got to spell it right, Daryl. Got to spell it right. All right. Yeah. In my opinion, they have. when they voted for voter fraud, when they voted for more gun control, they have left us. They have left us. Okay. Would it be acceptable to try to go for territory status first, then sovereignty? No, because if you are a territory of the United States, then you still fall under the rules and laws of the United States. You're still, even if you don't technically, they're still going to enforce them on you that way. They're still going to come door to door and take your guns. And everybody says they're not going to come door to door and take your guns. Bull honky. They went door to door and took your polymer 80s. I mean, they took build kits that were polymer 80s. All right, so we know they did that. So would I be correct in stating Texas would be the best state to move to, and then probably Wyoming, Montana, South Dakota, Alaska, Oklahoma, Idaho? Actually, I'd say Alaska would probably be the worst state to move. If Alaska joined Texas, then I would say that it would be the worst state to go to, because you'd have to fly through, like, everything flies through Seattle. Everything gets shipped through Seattle. Like, Alaska during the Secession would not be a great place to be until, as conservative some of the middle states, middle provinces of Canada are, we can invite them to join too. Screw them. But anyway, going back to us, turns us into Puerto Rico. So, we know they took guns during Katrina. We already said that. That's true. Texas is not as red as some of you believe. Yeah, it's true. But there's a lot of it's true they're not as red as they used to be, but they're still really red. All right, I'd say Alaska is more purple than Texas by far, not even close. Alaska still have ANWR. Yep. All right. Yep. I'm right. Getting more purple every year. Yep. It definitely is. And you saw it happen in 4 years in Georgia. Oh, election fraud. But anyway, and I don't even care about the Trump election. It was the senator election. But definitely you have to, guys, you absolutely have to start fighting for your rights. And part of that is driving the discussion where the consequences go. And the consequences of H.R. 127 or H.R. 1 is the leaving of the United States by certain states. And those states would keep whatever military hardware is in their states. The personnel could leave, but the hardware could go. All right. And if the personnel wanted to leave. And that's that. I mean, you could definitely have things. They will take the guns along the lines of the way they take and ban drugs. Yeah, pretty much. All right. We see how much of a cluster that is. All gun laws are infringements. Absolutely. But yeah, it's time for Secession to be a serious talk on the table, a serious thing that we put on the table and say, you can't do this. Okay. With H.R. 127 in the books. The fact that Sheila Jackson Lee from Texas even proposed that bill without being arrested for treason right there. Without being arrested for treason right there. All right. The fact that she was able to do that, to put that bill into practice without being arrested for treason. She better not try to come to Alaska. We'll arrest her for treason up here. Okay. The fact that she could do it without any consequences from either party, from any of the people, without getting banned from returning home by Texas, okay, definitely shows us where we are at, okay? No, that's not really Chook. That's Chook's mini-me on his computer probably. So, no, it's not really Chook here, so that's that. I wouldn't really consider Texas a 2A state that require a license for gun ownership. I think it's gun carry, not ownership, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody else from Texas, let me know. But yeah, absolutely. When politicians introduce illegal laws that go against the Constitution, they should be arrested and tried. So it absolutely is that. Okay. Yeah, I know. He told me. He said, sorry, I was filming with Chook, and I said, you have my condolences, because that you could say it was too cold, or I wanted to shoot too many videos or something like that. So that's the last time. That's the last time when Chuk and I went out shooting. Oh, you want to shoot like 18 videos? I only had 7. Jeez, good lord. All right, that would have went real fast if had he not gotten too cold and went to the car because he didn't wear all the clothing he needed to. I'm just kidding with him. He's a good guy. All right, all that happened though. All that really did happen. Okay, he's got to learn to tough it up Alaskan style. All right, there's a reason why it's an animated dinosaur, not a real one. He's not tough enough. So, yeah, at the congressional level, GOP is 90% rhino, absolutely, and they want guns gone as do the Dems. Yeah, we saw this with Lindsey Graham and a few other Republican rhinos and Trump passing for red flag laws. I mean, Trump being the chief rhino up there, and Lisa Murkowski and everybody else. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, concealed carry, yes. Ownership, no. So, hopefully, y'all can get some constitutional carry passed down there. But yeah, it's your right. So, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, I'm back to the rhino thing here. You can't trust You can't even trust Republican state governments. Secession is better for them than reliance on federal dollars that are going to inflate. Okay, so they absolutely rely on federal dollars. All states do, and so if their law enforcement doesn't comply with H.R. 127, they're not going to get federal dollars. That's the first way that federal law enforcement is going to enforce it, or federal government is going to enforce it. And if they're not getting federal dollars for schools and roads and colleges and research grants and all that crap and whatever else they get federal dollars for, those state senators and the state budget's going to be bust, and the state's not going to be able to do a lot or so. So there's that. Okay, there are really no so-called 2A sanctuaries. Show me a place where you can have openly unregistered machine guns. Absolutely. Exactly. I vote for third party for federal elections. GOP will put someone that's close to Bush, Clinton era politician. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Totally agreed there. The United States Inc. is a bankrupt corporation. Canceling the Act of 1871 severed the contract. Cool. So I'm going to have to hear more about this. Like, you're going to have to get on there and show me a whole lot more stuff. So we could start a war of attrition, starve out the major cities by blocking them off. Say Recolog. We don't want to start a war, okay? Just because we're succeeding doesn't mean we want to start a war. We want to succeed from the United States and then trade with the United States. Who was the number one trading partner for the colonies after the Revolutionary War? England, okay? I mean, let's be honest, okay? We don't want a war of attrition at all. We don't want a war at all, okay? Succession and war do not necessarily go together, okay? So what's going to happen with H.R. 127 is the war we don't want. It's going to be the war of agents coming to your house. And you take out 3 agents and they take out you and your family. Then the next house, you take out 3 agents and they take out you and your family, okay? Okay, we don't want that kind of millions of war being fought, millions of deaths. That would literally, H.R. 127, if 1 million of us didn't register our guns, it'll be more than that. But if 1 million of us didn't register our guns and they were able to come and get 1 million of us, there'd be 3 million deaths. Let's be honest, okay? Which is more than the Civil War, okay? Our population is that much higher now, all right? Which was more than the War of Northern Aggression, more than the war between the states, okay? So nobody wants a war except the left. The left would fight a war to keep us in, okay? Alaska is the richest nation on earth. We've been used as a piggy bank for too long. True. All right. How are you going to block the ports? Don't need to block the ports. Why would we need to block their ports? If they want to get food from Africa and get it before it spoils, good luck. Okay, the Africans can't feed themselves in many places. Okay, the Europeans can't feed themselves in many places. So, yep, you sold all your firearms, sure. All right, then they have a warrant. They're gonna come looking through your house anyway. Sack matters. I mean, they really are. I mean, I appreciate your support on the channel, you and Adam and everybody else in the chat. But yeah, I'm sorry, that's not going to save you. Okay, and I was listening to 2AEDU earlier. Okay, and he was definitely the same. He was saying this: if it's time for you to lose your guns in a boating accident, okay, then you're too much of a pussy to use them. Okay, he didn't say it in those terms, and I shouldn't say it in those terms, but all right. So H.R. 127 will create the reason the left wants to ban all weapons. They already have the reason for they want to ban all weapons. They want to be able to control us. I mean, it's not going to create that reason. It's just demonstration of that reason right now. Okay, I'm sure that's what you meant, but it's not. It's just showing the demonstration of it. But no, back to this. I mean, if you're having to hide or show that you don't have any firearms, then it's way past time to use them. Let's be honest, okay? So, reality check, our overlords will not accept losing their cash cow. No, probably not. But it'll be them starting the war, not us. That's what I like to hear. Hear a lot about hiding guns, but they will make you tell them where your guns are. They will do dental work on you. Yeah, probably. If it's tied to hide them, it's time to use them. Absolutely, John Fazer. That is absolutely right, true, and correct. It is absolutely wrong. You are absolutely wrong if you don't think that it's time to use them at all. So definitely has to be time. So yeah, look at H.R. 125 and H.R. 1 also. We've been talking about H.R. 1. All right, the legalization of voter fraud against the Constitution, which says the state shall be in charge of each election. Okay, so that they have control over the federal government, not the other way around. Okay, we are one good shaming away from anyone who has a gun as a terrorist. They freaking say that already. They say anybody has guns are white supremacists, or anybody has. They said this already the other day. So yeah, it's crazy. But that's where we're at. That is where we are at. So Secession is where we are at. If you don't think we are there, you're insane. Okay, we are been that divided. Okay, and it's time to drive the discussion. It is absolutely time to drive the discussion. And I'm calling out Governor Abbott. He needs to sign that bill. That bill needs to go through the Texas legislature. He needs to encourage it to go through the Texas legislature, if for not any other reason than for Biden to back down. Because I guarantee you, if Texas goes, every state between Texas and North Dakota goes. Several states west, like Montana and Wyoming and Idaho, go. Okay, several counties of California would join Idaho, okay, or join other places. So, I mean, it's definitely that. Okay, if you're worried about being slandered, they have already won. Absolutely, Adam. Okay, Adam, I disagree with you earlier. I really support your. I really appreciate your support on the channel and everything. But, yep. So, politicians make the people scared. The people will make the politicians scared. What makes them think they can leave their home safely? Yeah, I mean, God, I hate that it has to come to that, but maybe it does. All right. John made my point. The use of our weapons to resist their unconstitutional removal will fuel public opinion to ban them. Yeah, possibly. Possibly. Who cares? I mean, to be honest with you, I disagree with that. I don't think it will. I think the public will see that this is a losing battle because the public doesn't in America. The public doesn't have the stomach for all-out death and war. They'd want to do what's best to stop that, and then what's best to stop that is quit coming after the guns. All right. Yep, I like this channel even if you disagree on some things. That's what I like. That's what I like. It's America. So I disagree on a lot of stuff. Exactly why I make the joke of selling them or hiding them. There's truly is no point in hiding what you own, and they know it. Yep. Okay. Because so the government is afraid of us because they are foreign. Weird. There's plenty of African American gunners who are 2A supported patriots more in the last years. I've met more African American, Black people who are gun owners and 2A patriots in the last years than I have ever in my life. So, you know, and some of them are different on other political issues, and that's fine. Okay. But absolutely, I mean, the armed marches from some of those African American groups that I disagree with on the police. At least they're out there exercising their Second Amendment rights. Maybe not be the reason for, or I might think the reason for them doing it is a lie because the police are not going after Black people. But at least they're out there doing what they think they should be doing. That's more than a lot of us can say for us. So anyway, includes the smart meters, new LED lights, the arc boxes, intersections, all DARPA tech. Yeah, maybe you're right. All right, so I hope so. Yeah. I live close to the Bulgaria borders. We have the same bear species like you, and fewer than 5% of the people here is armed. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, we have a word for an unarmed hiker in Alaska. It's called bait. Yeah. I just don't get how, as a lawmaker, they aren't scared. Psychologically, what is it? A false sense of security? It's the illustrious drawing of power. It's the power, is what it is. They think they have the power to do all these things and to change all these things, and they want to stay in that power. They get one little thing going their way, they get the endorphins, and the endorphin of power. I mean, it's better than winning at Vegas to them. All right, it's addiction, and that's why you need term limits, because it is addiction. Absolutely. Okay, could be arrogance too. You're right, Booger Dog. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, nobody messed with the Koreans during the LA riots in '92. That's for sure. Rooftop Koreans with the Beretta 92s. Yeah, more scared of moose than bears. That's true. What is crazy? The blatant crimes that have been committed and just brushed under the rug. How much treason needs to be committed before anyone gets arrested for it? Absolutely. Even Clinton. Why? Trump was in office for 4 years with 2 Republican. Why wasn't Clinton arrested? I mean, it's crazy. All right, because Trump was a Democrat and her friend before all this. Yeah, that's why. So, how many here shut their smart tech tracking devices off for 1 hour or more a day? Yeah, seriously. and honestly, they come banning guns. My cell phone's probably going to be taped to somebody else's car, especially if they have a Biden sticker on it. But anyway, I'll call rooftop Koreans are true Americans. Amen, brother. Amen. Those are some true Americans right there. They know. Hey, many of them served. I mean, in Korea, they had to serve, and many of them knew exactly what they were doing. So it's crazy. So absolutely true Americans. But anyway, what are your thoughts on Secession? I mean, let's drive the conversation back there. Definitely. What are your thoughts on Secession? So definitely something you guys need to think about, and you guys need to do. If driving this discussion of Secession stops the liberal Democrats from H.R.1, H.R. 125, H.R. 127, and whatever Senate bills, if driving the discussion of Secession stops that, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Okay. If it doesn't stop that, is it worth it to have our own country again, even if our country is smaller? So, yeah, I call them on a regular, or email them on a regular basis myself, but definitely. But we're past that point. I mean, if the Democrats want to rush it through, they'll rush it through. So, yep, will make us weaker overall, easier for China to take full control. China doesn't have the navy to bring it to come here. They really don't. It's a myth. They don't have enough airplanes to drop a parachute everybody over. No, yeah. If you're worried about China taking full control, I mean, China has full control anyway. If Biden's in the White House, he's their puppet, right? But anyway, Yes, 100%. Let's do it. Yeah, I'm there. Good. All right. Send your reps everything every day. Make sure you spell it right, James. Succession would be hard to do. I like it. It should be looked into. Absolutely. It should be an option that's on the table. Okay. It should be an option that's on the table. The fact that it was threatened 20 to 30 years before the American Civil War over tariffs in South Carolina was what stopped a lot of things from happening. Okay. China has a Russian Navy made in China. Yeah. Beijing, Biden. All right. Didn't we have that problem 250 years ago? You know what needs to be done? Yeah. If you think China's going to be taken over, I mean, well, we fought off a foreign power 240 years ago. Absolutely. So Beijing, Biden, definitely. I think Alaska could do it. We have the oil and natural gas. We would have to trade for food and livestock. We will have to work through we'd have to work through the natives, yeah, or with the natives. That would be our hardest challenge. Yep. Shoot. There's nothing wrong with that. Most of them are actually pretty good people to work with, though. So Texas succeeding is fairly likely, but what do you think about Alaskan succession? My boss and I both think that the native population is too reliant on the federal government to support succession. Probably, absolutely. You know, I mean, if you look at a map of Alaska voting, it's red in all the areas on the road system and blue everywhere else. You know, though it feels like it's purple here in Anchorage too, but absolutely, yeah, it would be a tough time for Alaskan to succeed. But we'd definitely consider it. I think Dunleavy, if Texas does it, I think Dunleavy would go for it. You know, I don't think the current legislature would go for it, but yeah, it'd definitely be interesting. Yeah, I think the way I see it, the natives would rather have their own land back. I mean, that kind of thing. So, no, homestead land wouldn't come back in Alaska if we succeeded. I don't think so. No. All right. Yeah, again, feeling Russian would take us back over if we left. Now, that's a possibility. But I don't think that I don't think it would happen. Again, it's all about how we phrase succession, guys. You know, I mean, if we phrase it, we want peace, and you know, we'll work with the former United States, you know, to have trade relations and stuff like that, and we could even make it a mutual defense pact. Okay, like there are a lot of ways we could make succession work that's totally peaceful and totally advantageous for them to do. So yeah, succession is probably an effective threat. If mama says change or I'm gone and you love her, you usually change. Yep. Unless she's gone to her boyfriend like my ex-wife. But definitely, yep. Yeah, this current legislature is totally royal purple. Yeah, there's a good point of that. For the Alaskan Independence Party has been predicted to get 10% of votes this election. Have you heard of them? If so, what do you think? They're my ideal party politically. I have heard of them. I haven't actually studied any of the things they stand for on different issues. So, yeah, the best China could do is wage a cyber trade war. China could lead a greater UN coalition against the U.S. Yeah, I mean, somebody's going to have votes for China to get over here. Okay, so that's all I got to say. All right. Yeah, you're probably right about this. Okay, but if we push succession, no matter what they say in their media, people will know why we did it. We're not racist. We're not misogynist. We're not any of those things. We are patriots who want liberty and freedom. And we want liberty and freedom for the people that have voted it against for us. We want people everywhere to be free. Okay. We just want the Constitution guarantees these things, and they are taking away these things. So I've already said, Mr. Magnum Imus, I've already said it. They have left America. If whoever In my opinion, whoever introduced H.R. 125, H.R. 127, Sheila Jackson Lee, and H.R. 1, those people have basically given up the United States citizenship, in my opinion. They should no longer be U.S. citizens. Okay? They have given up. Okay? They are the ones that are leaving, not us. Okay? We're just going to say we're the United States, and they've left. Now, here's a real question: if Texas succeeds, would I leave Alaska? Probably, yeah, probably. We'd probably sell our stuff and move. I'd probably get a job in Texas somehow. So there's that. Definitely, so many similarities now and with 1776. Absolutely, taxes are galore. The government wants to take our guns, which they tried to do in 1774, 1775, and all that kind of stuff. So sounds like you want voluntary dissolution more than succession. Give me a difference between the two, Adam. Okay, give me a difference between the two. So, all right, maybe you're right. Maybe I should phrase it voluntary dissolution, but give me a better things. Bury tyrants, not your guns. That needs to be the next T-shirt, definitely. Next meme, next T-shirt. So, absolutely. Similar to the Freikorps fighting with the commies more than anything in the 20s and 30s Germany, yeah. All right, the commies being Antifa, yeah. So, anyone want to learn about assemblies, go to nationalassembly.net and alaskadejure.org. Okay, you need to actually write in the HTTP link in there. I gave you a wrench to do that, so it doesn't show up as a link in the chat unless you write in http://www/ whatever. Hey Thomas, how's it going? Thanks for all the support on the channel. We're talking about Secession tonight and how it is probably our best bet, and yeah, how we want it to be peaceful. So I was born in Texas. I want to die in Texas, but to stay, I got to have freedom, especially for my 7 grandkids. Amen. Amen. When I think about what's happening here in America and how I'm more than likely going to die, if H.R. 127 passes, my lifespan's shortened to the next 7 months, whatever, or 8 months, or whatever they think. Guys, like, the way I see it is like it's worth it if my son gets to grow up in a more free America. It's absolutely worth it. So that's that. More states in Texas be involved in the union. Absolutely. Texas got to start it. I'm calling you guys out. Okay. All right. But got to do what you got to do. Peaceful non-compliance. That's the thing is. That's the thing though. Like, okay, Denver, standard capacity magazine ban, and they're sold in all stores. Okay, well, the thing is the Denver is not sending the police after that. If they wanted to send the police after that, they could. Okay, if the police aren't going to enforce it, yeah, that's fine too. Whatever. Okay, but they have enough police and military that will enforce it. That it's not going to be peaceful non-compliance. They're going to come to your door and they're going to take your guns. They've already proved it. They have come to people's doors and taken their polymer 80s. They've already proved they will come to your door and take your guns. It's absolutely insane to think that non-compliance will be peaceful. Okay? They will send jackboot thugs to your door. They will send people who used to be in the Marines and took an oath, or used to be in the Army and took an oath, to your door. And those people are going to be oath breakers. It's that simple. Okay? And they're going to kick down your door and they're going to take your weapons. Okay? Don't tell me they're not going to do that. Okay? There will be nowhere to run to. Yeah, absolutely. Never is. Sometimes you got to stand and fight. So, absolutely. Absolutely got to stand and fight. So, Our rights aren't dying. They're being taken with people with our names and addresses. Absolutely. Okay? Most will give them up. Hate to say it, but I'm almost past caring if it's peaceful. Almost. Yeah, I understand where you're going. Yeah, Clifford, see, we've already talked about this. Yeah, look at Katrina. I mean, and that was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, the federal government would take your guns. Not even now. I mean, look at Ruby Ridge. He only got convicted of having a shotgun that was 2 inches too short, and he had his wife shot in front of him. Crazy. Okay? That's the only thing he was convicted of. Okay? Yeah, just like in the blue cities, they're firing the good police, and they will have something like the SS to go after people. Absolutely. Texas goes, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, the Dakotas will go. In my humble opinion, what other states will go? Kentucky, Tennessee. If Texas goes, Oklahoma and Arkansas are done deals. Okay, I can guarantee you that right now. Mississippi is a done deal. Louisiana, probably a done deal. All right. If Texas goes, all of those things are done deals. Kansas and Nebraska, which are on the way to Dakotas, are done deal. And then we can have the Keystone Pipeline. All right. And people can have their jobs back, that Biden took with a stroke of a pen, 20,000 jobs. Okay. So, yeah, not everyone wearing a uniform are patriots. That's right. The great unwashed masses, lovely and ruled by the oligarchy, unable to understand their own stupidity. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. So, yep. Not everyone wearing the uniform are patriots. So I want to know in the comments what you think about Secession in the comments section. Does driving the discussion, is it going to help? And are you going to drive the discussion by sharing this chat with your friends? Are you going to drive the discussion with your friends, talking about it? Are you going to put it on Facebook? Are you going to share? Got to go all the way up here to find it now in the chat. But Chuck Garrington said it earlier, that there's already a succession bill in the Texas legislature. Are you going to share all that? All right. He is all hat, no cattle. Oh, wow. Okay. So I thought he was pretty decent myself, but hopefully, maybe you're right. Okay, maybe he needs to start that. As much as it's been my dream to move to Alaska since I was a little kid, and I've been saving for it for years. If Texas succeeds, I have to move where my life won't be threatened by tyrants. There you go. Absolutely. I was in NOLA and spoke to head of SWAT. They worked with 82nd Airborne staying in reserve LA and killed hundreds of people and put on trash barge to Gulf. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so you were in North Louisiana at the time and they killed hundreds of people and put on a trash barge to the Gulf. Wow, I've never heard of that. So, yeah, we know. But they've driven us to that point, okay? They are the radical non-freedom lovers, and we know that, okay? They're the ones wanting to take your guns, and they're the ones wanting to make you not go to church, and they're the ones wanting to not let you go to the restaurants, and they're the ones wanting you to forcibly wear a mask and not let it be your own health decision to wear a mask, okay? Which is why I wear one. It's my own health decision to wear one. But gosh, geez, who cares? Whatever. All right. We're all sitting ducks until we exercise our First Amendment and start having mass patriot gatherings and organize. We can all wear masks and safeguard each other from being spotted and fired. Yeah, there's that. Yep, we know. So it's been nice talking. I'll be sure to join for other streams when I see them. Usually it's every Tuesday night. I had issues this week when I see them, but I've got to go for the night. Stay strong and don't give up the fights against the pinkos in office. Absolutely, Cadal 13. Absolutely. Thanks for coming in, brother. Okay, or sister. All right. I think the mask is only beneficial for anonymity, so normies will finally wake up. Yeah, it's a good point about that. Yeah. None of this is random. Good point. So they can join the conversation without fear. There you go. Well, guys, definitely definitely, we have to drive the discussion. This is where we have to drive the discussion, I think. Nullification first, succession second. Okay. If we can successfully nullify the law, that's that. But that's that. All right. So, succession. What are your thoughts? Put them in the comments. And guys, let's give it a thumbs up, a like. I have Patreon, and I got a new video on ballistics coming out every week. And guys, let's talk about this. So let's get this going. All right. If they don't fear us, all right, if they don't fear starvation by not being able to trade with the middle of the country, they're not going to have any consequences. So God bless. Take care. We will see you at the range, y'all.